it's snowing.
And that's for the entire property now, right? Well, now I've got to call
9 a.m. Welcome to this morning's Marshall County Board of Supervisors meeting, regular session Wednesday, November 22nd, 2023. Notice to the public, the Board of Supervisors welcomes comments from the public during the time allowed for discussion. You're requested to approach the podium and use the microphone, state your name, address for the record, and limit the time used to present your remarks in order that others may be given the opportunity to speak. The normal process on any agenda item is for the chair to read the item from the agenda. The board's given the opportunity to comment on the issue and or place a motion on the floor. An opportunity for discussion may be presented, at which time the public may participate, and a roll call will follow. Roll call, please.
Heil,
Yes.
Hibbs,
Yes.
Selassie.
Yes.
Yes. Could you please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag
Of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Do we have a motion to approve today's agenda?
I'll make the motion. We approve the agenda as presented.
I'll second.
For the motion and a second, any further discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Heil,
Yes.
Hibbs,
Yes.
Selassie.
Yes.
On to number 5, service awards for November 2023. James Gibson, 15 years of service, Detective Sergeant in the Sheriff's Department. 15 years, it's a wonderful feat. Glad for everything that he's done for our Sheriff's Department, serving and protecting those of Marshall County. Do we have any words from the Sheriff's Department on James today?
Sheriff Joel Phillips, I just want to say we want to thank James for his commitment to Marshall County. 15 years is obviously a long time in law enforcement standards. To add to his responsibilities, his task force, the field operating unit supervisor, he not only has administrative duties with the grant processing, with scheduling personnel in the task force meetings through the multi-jurisdictional executive board, but he also works cases. He's a liaison between our state and federal partners, so there's a lot of responsibilities on Detective Sergeant Gibson, and I can't say enough for him, for his dedication, for those long hours, those calls in the middle of the night. He's truly an asset to not only Marshall County, but our partnering entities, state and federal. So I want to thank him.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Any other comments from the board? Thank you very much, James. On to number 6, the volunteer recognition of Bob Grimes. 5 years as Veterans Affairs Commissioner. To me, it seems like he's been there forever because I've only been sitting as a committee member for the board on that just this year. So he's been there the whole time. So, but boy, he is a very involved member. It's great to have him on board, and we appreciate his service to the country and service to our county as well. Kevin, is there anything that you'd like to add on Bob today?
No.
All right. Well,
He's a great individual.
It's great. It's great. It is certainly great to have veterans with their hearts in the right place to serve veterans. So we appreciate Bob and all that he does for Marshall County. On to number 7, consent agenda. 7A, approve regular minutes of November 8th, 2023. 7B, approve claims as audited and authorize the county auditor and recorder to issue payment of the same. The listing of the claims paid at this meeting and all claims paid in the current month will be published part of the first meeting of the following month. File manure management plans, Applegate GL ID 59073, 2845 Garwin Road, Marshalltown. No changes. 7D, approve county floater holidays, half day, Wednesday, November 22nd, 2023 from noon today to 4:30 p.m. and all day Tuesday, December 26th, 2023. That is to mirror a little bit closer to the state holidays for administrative purposes. 7E, personnel changes. Approve secondary road status changes. Status change Isaiah Moore from TD1 to TD2, 2860 to 2933. an hour full-time, effective November 22nd, 2023. Status change Connor Reyes from TD1 to TD2, 2860 to 2933, an hour full-time, effective November 22nd, 2023. Status change Nicholas Runke from TD1 to TD2, 2860 to 2933 an hour, full-time, effective November 22nd, 2023. And status change Douglas Zabrowski from TD1 to TD2, 2860 to 2933 an hour, full-time, effective November 22nd, 2023. And that is the end of the consent agenda today. Do I entertain motions to approve?
Mr. Chair, I would make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'll second that.
Motion is second. Any discussion on consent?
It's a good thing we're doing this today because we will be off this afternoon, or potentially we will be off this afternoon if we vote for this. So we ran that right down to the wire, didn't
You
we?
betcha we did. You betcha
Yeah.
we did.
All right.
Just one comment too, Jeannie has already updated the calendar in anticipation of this
Approval.
approval, but if you don't, she will undo the calendar that's on our
Okay.
intranet on the ESS homepage.
Great. Thank you. So that was the motion.
Yes, it was. We need to vote on this.
Second.
I did, yeah.
Roll call vote, please.
Heil,
Yes.
Hibbs,
Yes.
Solosik.
Yes, let's do that.
Funny.
On to number 8, county farm lease bid process for 3-year cash lease discussion and possible action. I know, Steve, you've been doing a lot of the heavy lifting on this. Take it away.
I tell you what, Sherry Kokenauer's been doing the heavy lifting on this. She has just been a trooper with this bid process and the putting together the packet. So I've reviewed it. It's 26 pages, and I like what I see. So what do you have to say?
Yeah, no, but it looks great. There it is. She's got it, had it ready for me and all printed, one copy printed for us. We will have it after, if you all approve it today, we'll have it available online on our website, and then it'll be available for pickup in our office if anybody wants it old school, pickup paper-wise, and so we'll be ready. And our plan is to have that at our December 20th Board of Supervisor meeting.
Okay.
And historically, it's a pretty short part of the meeting. Doesn't take very long.
Great.
We picked up some interest from our radio
Discussion.
discussion
Sure.
from Monday morning. So I didn't think anybody ever listened to that, but they do.
Apparently they do.
They do.
They
I get comments when I'm on, and I'm always surprised.
Serious. Okay.
Yeah.
I suppose that's what radio's for.
Yes, it is.
Awesome. Well, is there, we'll take motions to approve the packet.
Do you want me to?
Yeah.
I will
Your deal.
be happy to. Okay. I would like to make a motion to approve the county farm bid packet for a 3-year cash rent as presented.
I'll second that motion.
All right, we have the motion and the second. Any further discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Heil,
Yes.
Hibbs,
Yes.
Solosik.
Yes.
On to number 9, recount request of Marshalltown City Council Member Ward 2, discussion, possible action.
So this is a request from my office, from the election team. We've had the request from Gabe Ism, and we've kind of got all the wheels in place. We had a meeting with both candidates, him and Mark Mitchell, on Monday, and we've got the team in place and ready to go, but we need you all's approval to hold the recount. So,
And right, as of now, the official tally is 2 votes separate them.
two votes separate them.
I see.
My recommendation to the recount board is to do both a hand recount and a machine. It's not like we're dealing with 40,000 ballots. You know, there's no need not to do both. Let's do both, and so we really all feel comfortable with it.
Okay.
So the plan right now is Monday, the 28th. Seems like that's a long ways away when we got all the holiday in between there. Monday, the 27th, I apologize, at 4 p.m. And the recount board is, let me grab those names, Noah Ridgway, Mark Eaton, and Bethany Curry. And we will be holding it at the Election Center, beginning at 4 p.m.
And as far as the process goes, once it's completed, then what's the next step?
It depends. If everything is found to be in place, there's a form that we complete and send into the Secretary of State's office. You all will be copied just to know that it's done and official. If there is a change, if there was some voter intent that we see on ballots, that they see on ballots that's different, we would need to recanvass Ward 2. So,
Okay. I'll make a motion that we approve the request for recount of Marshall County City Council Member Ward 2 seat held on the November 7, 2023 city school election in Marshall County.
Should we add that we request a hand recount along with a machine?
that is actually up to the recount board.
It is, it has, we do not,
It's right in the Iowa code.
you bet.
But they can do either way, and, we can guide them, and I think, they always, can
They
we
can
do
decide.
both? It's like, yeah, do both, why not?
Yeah.
That's kind of what we're gonna recommend to them.
Okay,
But
I'll second that then.
Motion and the second. Any further discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Heil,
Yes.
Hibbs,
Yes.
Solosek.
Yes.
Number 10, approve annual urban renewal report for fiscal year 22-23.
And I printed that off for you all. It's an online report, as most things are, with the Department of Management and Department of Revenue now. And so I did the screenshot. It's a little ugly, but there it is. And this is due by December 1 and needs your approval prior to December 1. And so this was our last board, it kind of seems weird, that's our last board meeting prior to December 1, but our next one is the 6th of December, which is a little scary to say as well. Time is flying. And so this is for the Gateway, that's our, Harvester was another TIF we had, but that one is closed. So this is our only open TIF.
Do you recall when the last time there was any expenditures or any activity?
We're still paying things.
Okay.
So if you notice, there is
yes.
some income and there is some expense in this. But it's just really paying off the debt is that's all that's happening.
Anything outside of that is what I'm
No,
referring to.
no. Mm-mm. This one's pretty simple and it ends in 2026. So it's just really winding down.
All right. I'll entertain motions to approve the annual urban renewal report.
Mr. Chair, I would make a motion to approve the annual urban renewal report, fiscal year 2022, 2023.
I'll second that.
All right, for the motion and the second, do we have any further discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Heil,
Yes.
Hibbs,
Yes.
Solosek.
Yes.
All right, number 11, Marshtown Mall lease, courts, records, storage, discussion, possible action. We know there's been activity or non-activity going on at the mall that has been in the news quite a bit lately. So we've had court records out there. Is there an update from Lucas on this?
Start there.
Lucas Becky Buildings and Grounds. We store a lot of court files at the mall. They're currently in the process of scanning their files. They are about 2/3 done. The mall is a mess. The water is still on. The power is still off. They do have their monitoring system in place to where if a sprinkler head froze and then thawed and ran water, they would at least know it, which is an upside. But there's still some concerns about just the logistics of the space. I don't know as we have a lot of better options. I did speak with the clerk of court, Carol Haney, and she requested that we find a different place to move the files to, which has its own logistical issues. The state would have to contract with someone to move all those files and the cabinets and shelving that they go on. Luckily, it's only a third of what they had originally, but I'm just not sure there are a lot of great options for that, or that would be a big improvement over the mall, honestly. We have heat and cooling, since we are one of the outside suites. It has its own
Meter.
HVAC system there, and we pay the Alliant bill, so we have lights and all that. My only really concern is water at that point, and as long as the sprinkler system is being monitored, I don't think we have a major issue of flooding outside of if something did happen and someone didn't respond in a timely manner, which is another issue.
One thing I thought about on this is if we could reach out to Scott Hand or one of the court folks to see if they could get a timeline on when they're gonna come pick the rest of this up. If
Yeah,
they could,
I don't know who's heading that up. I don't know if it's Carol or administration. I have some contacts, but yeah. The last time I spoke with Carol about that process, they were having some issues with the indexing of the scans, so they had some problems searching things, so it wasn't going as smoothly as expected.
Where are they doing the work for the scanning?
They take it off-site, so they'll come in with a truck and load it up and take it
Somewhere?
somewhere. I want to say it's Minnesota, but I'm not certain.
Okay.
And once it's scanned, it does not come back to us.
then they
Yep.
shred it.
Yeah.
Everything that can be destroyed at that point will be. There are some things that they have to keep physical copies of, like murder files, things like that. There may be some books that they need to keep, but for the most part, everything's just gone. That was part of our agreement with them is, we, Marshall County, gave the state $150,000 and said, here's your first, this will get you going, because we just don't have the storage capacity to, like we used to just have all of that.
Those
Well, and
records.
as we keep thinking about, it just keeps growing. Everything just keeps growing, so.
They're digital now, so they
Yeah.
aren't creating long-term storage. They have short-term stuff, but it's still,
It's
I
just,
want
yeah.
to say the suite is probably 1,500 square feet, and it's pretty full.
Still, with even
Well, no,
Yeah.
I haven't seen it since they
Okay.
started, but when they started, it was,
full?
yeah, it was full.
But
And-
now there's about a third left, you said?
Yeah, that's what Carol thought. And, we used to have basically the entire annex basement as storage, and we stored a lot of stuff in the attic, and neither of those are really options anymore. So, as far as places that we have to store things that are accessible to them, it's real minimal.
And so right now, Carol doesn't have a timeline yet on when they would be able to have everything
They were
out?
hoping like end of December, but with their indexing issues, I'm not sure if that's pushed. I know we have a lease agreement with the mall through March.
And that's why we did that, is because of this indexing issue. They thought
Right.
it would be pushed out some.
Yeah.
That obviously was before all of this happened with the mall.
I don't know what our requirements by code are for them. I know we are to provide space that the Board of Supervisors deems adequate, and there are some other caveats that go along with that, but I don't know how that pertains to storage. I don't know where our responsibilities end there. It's pretty gray.
I didn't know we still had lights.
Oh, yeah,
We're still business as usual then.
If you are an outside,
Right, I didn't know, I
yeah,
didn't
if
realize.
you have
we
an
were
exterior
outside.
door, you have your own.
You have a
meter.
separate meter, yeah.
Yeah, that's good news.
Yeah, we'd be being,
But it's not heated.
it is,
It
So
is heated
Carol's
also.
concern is fire suppression, right?
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. She had asked me to explore moving that storage back into the Max building, which is a lot of money, to which I said, okay, there's fire suppression there, but, I think that's almost $6,000 a month, plus utilities. I don't know what we pay at the mall, but it isn't that.
1,800 a month at the mall.
Yeah.
I know that Rhonda's personal business, they got water in there from a neighboring business.
Correct.
So could you come up and speak to that, how that happened, so that we can at least let the supervisors make an educated?
So, Rhonda brought us, business owner, ex-business owner from the mall, because we moved. So there's just a couple things that I wanted to make you aware of. So, the fire suppression, the only reason right now there is any kind of electrical to it is because of the business out there, TLC. So basically, they took on the expense to move that, but that can be shut down at any time because it's not the mall that's providing that electrical. So while the fire sprinklers would work in absence of any kind of power, it is dependent on that additional piece. When we did have our flooding, it caused almost $16,000 in damage to our store, but none of the water started from our store. It was from the businesses that were next to us that were closed. So it was empty spaces.
When was that?
I want to say that was in September, if I remember correctly, September 12th.
Okay.
I believe. So, and that was taken care of. Obviously, we had insurance for that, but I just wanted to be able to share that with Nan because, obviously, and we didn't have an exterior door, but all the businesses that are in there, they pay their own power. So we still had power and heat. Unfortunately, because we didn't have an external door, that's what we were one of the 4 that were shut down. So.
It's also your understanding that nobody that's out there is actually paying rent.
Correct. The only exception to that is my understanding, because of the fact that they broke the lease, and then, of course, the businesses were shut down. Even the businesses that are still running, I believe they withheld their November payment to try and encourage the mall owners to turn back on the power. The only exception to that is TLC, because they're a corporation and everything is like automatic. So theirs was automatic. I don't know what they're doing about the December.
Okay. Because right now, with us being on our second check of the month, we would be cutting the December rent check with this run today. So I'm just getting a jabber from the accounting department. Should we be sending the rent check? That would be
I don't know if our $1,800 is gonna make a difference in what's going on one way or another.
probably not. But, we can always hold them. That's one option. We can hold them. We can, we don't have to send them. We can hold them here. We can go ahead and send them. Would that $1,800 help them catch up their utility bills? Probably not, because the numbers I've heard rumor mill are way bigger than that. So,
We do or we don't have sprinkler service in that room right now?
So the water is on, so the fire suppression system is in place.
Thank you, Rhonda.
Without conditioning of the space, so if there are areas that aren't heated and get down below freezing, there is a potential of the water lines freezing. At that point, you're not gonna have a lot of flow because you've caused a lot of issue. But with the fire alarm system up and running, it is monitoring that flow. So as soon as you get water running through the pipes, it will dial out to 911 and notify someone that there is an issue. So at the very least, Marshalltown Fire responds and then shuts off a sprinkler.
Would the sprinkler system destroy the records that we have in there? Is that likely?
Well,
or unlikely?
we're not gonna have that issue in our suite because we have heat. Next to us, I don't know what's on either side, so we're the 1410. I don't know what the 1450 or the 1370 is. They're empty. So that would be more the concern, is that one of those suites has the problem and then it basically comes underneath. I don't think there's anything necessarily on the floor. So we would have to have a major influx of water to get up into the shelving units that we have there. I'm sure there is some stuff on the floor. I just don't know the extent of it. I haven't been in there in a long time. I don't know what they've taken to scan. I don't know what's still there. So that would be the concern, is that an adjacent property has an issue and then it floods floor up.
If it does help, the only business in your immediate surrounding that is
Is
still
Mama
up and running
DeGrano's.
is the dance hall that's right across. Nothing in
Oh.
your line is up and running. The nail salon was one of the ones that was shut down. That was at the very, very end.
Yep,
And then across the hall, you only have the dance place.
gotcha.
Until you hit the middle center, and then further down, you've got just a couple of them.
I would say we have, I don't know, like, we'd probably I wouldn't be overly concerned about like this week, but I just don't know what the temps are gonna do. Like I said, it would have to be a pretty major leak for an extended period of time, in my opinion, to cause a lot of damage. Said, I don't know what's in boxes on the floors, though.
Personally, I feel very strongly about just leaving it all there. You know, taking some calculated risk here. I don't want to move it again. You don't want to move it again.
We don't move it. The state has to hire a moving company.
And that could
or
take a
bring
month or two.
It could take
Yeah.
definitely a while. I don't know.
We just
what
have
the
to provide an
timetable is.
alternative space if they say we're moving our stuff. Is that correct?
I don't necessarily know if they can say we're moving our stuff, because, they can't tell us to go rent someplace else, I don't think. Like I said, I don't know
But
where our
if
requirements
they
lie
say
there.
this space is not acceptable because of the conditions,
Yeah,
we need an alternative space.
I would think so. At that point, my question would be, what is currently on, there's like Steve said, there's a risk there, and,
Right.
what level of risk are we willing to take, and then does it then extend liability to us?
Yeah.
Now, one thing I could see is the things that are not gonna get scanned. Do we need to go in there next week with Carol, look at those and get those pieces out? And that, I
Yeah.
could see that would be worth doing, and identifying that spot and how much there is. And to me, that would be a good
Yeah.
thing to get done.
Yeah, and if if we can get in there and see everything's a foot off the ground. Okay, so we rust some file cabinets are gonna get thrown
So
away.
be it.
It's,
Well, and we could throw some tarps over stuff. We did that when we were,
we're not gonna have water coming in from above.
I think probably this is something with running by the county attorney to make sure that we're within the law on what our requirement is of
Yes.
what's considered adequate space for the storage. And get a good recommendation from him. And part of that recommendation may be doing exactly what you're saying, is having Carol take a look at what her biggest concerns are, along with you and the county attorney, to determine that whatever this path is, we have ourselves covered that we're not operating outside the law. I mean, I'm willing to take on a little risk if everyone is agreeable to it, but if we are all of a sudden in a questionable legal, I'd like to be in compliance with that. And then that, also with that payment, I'd like to ask the county attorney if withholding that payment is advantageous or would be not advantageous for us to do. And if he says, whatever the direction by the county
Right,
attorney is,
yeah.
I'd do that.
I agree that it'd be good to have Jordan's opinion on that. My thought is we would withhold payment and notify them that we're withholding it until power can be restored, as stated in our lease, that they would provide space and power and everything else that's required.
Yeah, that sounds reasonable.
If liability shifts to the mall at that point, like, you know, are we ever gonna get any money out of them? Probably not. You know, if they owe $100,000 plus to Alliant, we're not gonna get 20 grand out of them.
I think it's worth having you take a look at what's
Yeah.
still out there.
Yep.
And having Carol go out and. kind of-
Identify
and-
what's permanent. I'd
yeah,
like to know.
assess-
Yeah.
Assess what we need to just plan to keep, no matter what.
Yep.
And-
I'll
and
reach out to
then-
her and say, let's plan on early next week, let's get out there, let's look at it, and,
Yeah, and then have an alternative
Yeah.
plan if needed,
okay.
yeah.
I mean, we know we've got some things we got to find a home for.
Yeah, I have a couple of ideas of temporary storage that could work, you know, if we're actually looking, if we have 1,500 square feet there and we only need 700, we could probably work something out and maybe save some money, so we'll see. All right, thank you.
We are holding the check right now till next week because it's a December 1st payment.
Yeah,
So it's only the 22nd today, so.
that's not a problem. And then we'll just run it by Jordan, but
Yeah,
that sounds
I
like
think withholding and then informing them in a letter of why we're withholding and what our intention is.
Okay.
I don't think this requires a motion by any means on anything at this point, so any other further discussion or questions in regards to the storage out at the mall? Excellent, and thank you, Rhonda, for your inside input for us on that. We appreciate that. Is there a motion to remove the tabled item?
I have one question on the tabled item. If you're going to do something different with it down the road, we can remove it from the table and say that we're gonna do something different and just remove it and just get it off there permanently. Kind of up to you all what your thought process is.
Would that require us to remove this from the table to discuss?
I don't know.
Probably.
Probably. If anyone wants to discuss, I'll entertain motions to remove this item from the table for discussion.
Or we can leave it there.
I don't think we need to today, unless Steve wants to.
I don't.
All right. Item remains on the table for future. On to public forum. Time set aside to make comments on topics of county business other than those listed on this agenda. No action will be taken on these topics brought up in public forum.
Just a little bit of housekeeping here. I've been seeing a lot of county employees parking on the streets around the courthouse lately. And I would like to remind everybody that parking in the parking lot and your designated spots is preferable. We don't want to take parking away from businesses, you know, around the square. It seems a little rude on our part.
Is everyone able to park over here across the
There is-
street? We got an email 3 or 4 weeks ago about there weren't spaces available. People were parking in there that shouldn't have been parking.
If there are people parking in there that shouldn't be parking, that's a different discussion, but there should be somewhere between 6 and 12 extra spots over there that are reserved for future employees or just a little extra. We peeled back the spots that we had allocated to HHS because we didn't think we had enough spots, and we don't really for their 20-ish potential employees, so we just kind of removed the majority of those. So there should be ample parking for all county employees that are designated to the east lot to be in the east lot.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a big number of not employees parking in that lot. And also blocking the exits so that you have to back.
Same car's done that the last 4 days in a row, or
Yeah, there's the same car doing it every day.
3:30, stays there for an hour or so.
Yeah.
Kevin Husbo, Veterans Affairs. I just wanted to announce, Nan was in our office yesterday. I've had a young man I've been dealing with out of Florida. He called yesterday. He's going to be our first one for home base Iowa. Him and his family are moving up here. He's got employment at JBS. He's finishing up his form that we designed. He's getting his lease agreement finished up. So as soon as he gets that done, Sherry will be entering it into the system, and I'll sign off on that. So sometime next week, Nan and I talk, we'll be requesting a check that we can send to him in Florida to cover his moving expense of $2,000. That's what we
Awesome.
agreed upon.
Yes.
Does he have a connection to Iowa?
Yeah, well, he's moving from Florida here to work at JBS. They hired him.
But he doesn't have a previous connection?
No, not
Yeah.
a previous, but
Oh, wow.
he is relocating
How did he find us?
through JBS.
Through
'Cause
JBS?
he's a veteran.
Okay.
Because when he comes here, he wants me to work on his disability claims. So he reached out to them. JBS said, get a hold of Veterans Affairs, talk with me. And I discussed with him first about the home base Iowa, and he goes, no, he says, I think we can probably cover that. And he called yesterday and he says, no, I want to take you up on your offer. So that's great, because we had allocated money for that. So he'll be our first one utilizing the home base Iowa.
That's great.
So yeah, he's got 3 children and his wife. So,
So we may be doing a manual check before the next one if he needs
Right.
the funds to get
Perfect.
the move process started.
yep.
Awesome.
That's all I got. I just wanted to
Great,
announce
thank
that.
you.
You bet.
Thanks, Kevin.
Kim Elder, Marshall County Emergency Management. Just wanted to update you on the siren project, so, sorry I have no voice still. Was out last week, most every day, all day, surveying the sites again to make sure the specific area where those poles were going where they needed to be. We're still working on the 3 digipeaters or the repeater sites, working with Pickering because that's where our east tower was for the VHF or the fire system before. So hopefully there'll be a pole set there. Working with Lucas and the sheriff on whether we put a pole or whether it goes on the water tower out at the sheriff's office. That'll be the middle of the county. And then State Center has agreed to do the west repeater or the digipeater in State Center so that we don't have to deal with rural water and go on that water tower. So those are taken care of. It looks like the sites are all good and pretty much approved, other than we have to have locates right before we put the poles in, obviously. So we're finally moving along, hoping we can get some poles set before we have frozen ground, so. Yeah, so it seems to be working right along.
Very good, thank you.
Thanks, Kim.
You're welcome.
Any other public comment? Well, hearing none, happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Enjoy the holiday, and then we'll be wrapping up the end of this year. So that moves us on to adjournment. Next regular session is Wednesday, December 6th at 9 a.m. here at the courthouse, first floor, meeting room, 1 East Main Street. All business to be acted upon at that session should be submitted to the County Auditor Recorder's Office or the Board of Supervisors Office by Wednesday, November 29th, 2023 at noon. There being no further business to come before the board, the meeting is adjourned at 9:40 a.m. Have a great day.